Hello and welcome back to How to Homeschool in High School. Today's episode is an interview with two of my friends. They are sisters. They've been homeschooled for forever. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about their homeschooling journey and their experience in pursuing their passions through homeschooling and what they like, what they dislike. I'm excited to hear from you guys. So if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves and like walking us through your homeschooling journey, when you started and how it's going.
So my name's Anastasia.
And my name's Dora.
And we've been homeschooling since kindergarten. That was something that my parents decided they wanted to do from the start. My mom had been homeschooled in high school, so that was something that she enjoyed and something she wanted to give to her kids. Mm-hmm. So we're very, very grateful for that. And we've had several different experiences through the years homeschooling. So when we started, it was mainly like book curriculum, and mom would teach us each morning.
Yeah.
And then starting when I was in 4th grade and Dora was in 2nd grade, we had a slightly more structured co-op that we started attending called Classical Conversations.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Right.
That was purely supplemental for us, though. We still did our book curriculum along with that.
Okay. There's been book curriculum that we've kind of done since the beginning, and like math, and we had an English course, things like that. But the CC was really great for connecting with people every week. Yeah. And I'm really glad that we had that experience in kind of more of a classroom setting, but just one day a week. Mm-hmm. So that was a lot of fun. And then when I was in 8th grade, we had an opportunity to start attending a study center, which is an interesting sort of hybrid. It was 2 days a week, and it was also sort of a co-op, but they had all our curriculum. So we had tutors for each subject. We would go in, have classes all day. Felt very much like a small private school.
Yeah.
And then the other 3 days of the week, we'd come home and we'd have assignments from the tutors. And I did that for 3 years. Dora's still doing that. So she could talk more about like what it is now.
This is my 4th year attending Blackburn, and it feels a lot more like a private school or like a small Christian school than the other co-ops I've attended, and so I really like the classroom structure of it more because it feels more like a classroom than when you're just at a co-op.
Yeah.
But it is nice that our parents still have like the final say in what we're doing, and we have a very flexible schedule for the 3 days of the week that we aren't there. But it also means that we get teachers who are like professionals in the subject. So we had a great science teacher for chemistry and physics, and I'm really grateful for her because I don't know how I would have gotten through those without a really good teacher like that.
Sure.
So there's definitely benefits like that I'm really grateful for, and I'm not sure where we would have found those things apart from Blackburn. So that's been a really big blessing. And then starting last year, I started going to a local college, Grove City College, for dual-enrollment classes. And the college has online options, but since we live so close, I'm really grateful that I've been able to just drive up there and take the classes in person.
For sure.
That's been really cool, connecting with people on campus and having that classroom experience. It's felt very much like a bridge, because I know I'll be going to college next year, so it's been really fun and kind of a chance for me to spread my wings. But also I am still at home a lot, which is just a really big blessing, and I'm realizing more and more as the time comes close for me to like leave home, like how grateful I am that I've had so much time at home.
That's true, for sure.
And been so close to family and everything. So that's kind of our story. So we've experimented with a lot of different things, and it's all been really good, and I'm really glad that we've had each different thing that we've tried.
The one thing I really like about co-ops and a Blackburn type of structure is you're able to get people who are talented in, say, physics or science or math.
Yeah.
Because my mom and my dad's pretty good at those things, but he's at work. So my mom, she does not feel comfortable teaching us those. So to have someone in person that you can go to and ask questions and be in a classroom setting to learn is very nice. I think without our online, I don't know how in the world we would have done it either.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you guys have Blackburn. And I know a few other people around us who go there and they enjoy it. So for you, Annie, you've been doing dual enrollment, which we will talk about in a future episode.
Okay,
I think I'm going to have a few more people on who do dual enrollment as well.
It's been really good.
But so did you stop doing Blackburn and you just started doing dual enrollment? Do you do anything supplemental?
Yeah, so I am doing some book curriculum at home, like math and government and everything else to fill in the gaps that I need to graduate. And so the college classes have been mainly like core classes that I'll need when I'm in college.
Exactly.
And some of them are also fulfilling high school requirements, but other ones are kind of just for fun. So,
exactly. And you've had a lot of, like you said, it's a bridge. It's a really nice bridge.
It's
and
really cool.
because of our flexible homeschooling environment, we're able to invest more in those classes.
Yeah.
Because the current one I'm doing, there's a few kids that are actually, because it's strictly high school, actually enrolled in public school, and they're doing this along with their public school work, and like they're having Zoom calls in their closets of their school because they need to be there for the college work. I'm like, I can't imagine doing that. So I'm so grateful that we're able to. It's just such a, it just fits well with homeschooling.
Yeah.
So
very compatible.
Dora, do you think you would want to do dual enrollment? Or are you thinking about it maybe even senior year?
I am definitely thinking about doing dual enrollment, especially I was thinking next year maybe taking some classes at Blackburn and taking some classes dual enrollment.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how that would look, but I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because I do want to do dual enrollment, but I also have a lot of great friends at Blackburn, and I want to keep going, and we'll see.
Yeah. So I know back in, I think it was episode 9, I think, we talked about different paths you can take with homeschooling. You guys are a great example of the Trailblazer Path, which was my last one, which is like a combination of all of them. You got the dual enrollment, you got the co-ops, you got the book curriculums. I mean, you've really made it unique and your own and personalized for your family. So that's pretty awesome.
That is one of the special things about homeschooling, is the fact that every year can look different.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it can just fit your needs. So depending on, what our interests were that year, what we needed to get done, or, what sorts of extracurriculars we were doing, that would definitely affect what we were doing. So for example, in 7th grade, I played basketball, and it required a ton of traveling around, and I was really grateful that year we mainly did book curriculum, and I did one online course. So that was a great setup for that, because I would have been away so much. So
Exactly. So I had this question as well, since you brought up sports. Does Blackburn do any sort of sports?
No, it doesn't offer any.
They played dodgeball at lunch, and it's incredibly competitive. So I would say that's a sport.
It's actually really aggressive, but they don't play that anymore. They don't do that anymore.
Blackburn has changed so much since I left. I feel like it's not even the same place. Like if I were to go back, it would be so different. It's very sad.
Administrator.
That changes a lot. Yeah.
But so they don't do sports. However, there is a homeschool co-op in Beaver Falls, which is pretty close to us as well, that has sports. And you've done sports through them.
Yep.
And we've done sports through them since 7th grade. I did basketball with them, and I've tried different sports. And currently we're doing track. We're signed up for track when that starts.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Soon.
Actually.
Yes. That's one of the great things about co-ops. And co-ops like Plants and Pillars, where they let people who don't attend join their sports teams as well. So I think that's pretty nice of them. So I think we've kind of covered this already, but how do you guys do high school? I know it looks very different for both of you, but you did Blackburn for like 9th and 10th, right? And then you went dual enrollment, and you're in 10th grade currently, Dora? Yeah. So kind of similar, but kind of different the way you guys are working through high school.
Yeah. And it is interesting because right now, at least this semester, Dora's got classes Monday, Wednesday, and I've got classes Tuesday, Thursday. So we aren't even together as much as usual. But I mean, when we are at home, it does look pretty similar because we both have assignments and we just complete them kind of on our own time. And we can structure each day a little differently depending on what we want to do. So apart from like where we take the classes, I'd say that it's looking pretty similar for both of us in a lot of ways.
So this is a very hard question, honestly, because like we already talked about, every day looks different. But if you had to say, let's do a typical homeschooling week for you all. Like, what time do you wake up? That's a common question for, I don't know why.
Yeah.
What time do you wake up? Like, do you work all day? Do you take breaks? Something like that. Like, what does your normal week look like?
Well, for me, I usually am up before 7:30. Depending on how lazy I'm feeling on a given day.
That sounds like me.
So normally I'm up before 7:30 and I'll start schoolwork by 8 probably. And depending on the day, some days it's all day I'm doing schoolwork. Some days I'm done by like lunch. So and depending on what we have going on that day, I'll be able to like schedule my stuff around it. And, like, if we have something going on in the afternoon, I won't do school in the afternoon. And it's really flexible, I think. So, for me, with Blackburn, it has definitely been more of a challenge than before to, like, actually stay on top of everything I have to do and time management.
Yeah.
Blackburn has definitely challenged me to improve my time management.
Yeah.
So
I think that, at least in my experience, before we were accountable to someone outside of our parents, I kind of got in this little rut where I could get anything done. Like, I can be like, oh, this assignment's due tomorrow, but Mom, can I have an extra day? And I know once you're accountable to someone else, it really changes how you manage your time. So I think also that's very good for homeschoolers to have some sort of outside accountability, at least for one class, because it really does change the way you work and everything.
Yeah.
So it does help. But we love our flexibility as well. So it has to be a balance.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, I often ask people this question because I think it's interesting to hear how, different people are able to pursue what they love through homeschooling in a more, intense way than other people can because of our flexibility and stuff. So is there any way that homeschooling has allowed you to pursue things that you love?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm very glad that, if there's something that I want to pursue, I can just make time for it, and we can kind of work our schedule around that thing. And my parents have always been a huge blessing with helping me decide which things I need to be focusing on and reminding me to stay on top of things that I've committed to. So recently I've been working on my Stars and Stripes Award for American Heritage Girls, which has been a huge process. So American Heritage Girls is kind of like Girl Scouts. Yeah. It's a scouting sort of group. It's faith-based, and one of their big awards, the biggest award in the program, is called the Stars and Stripes Award. Yep. And it requires organizing and implementing a very large service project to benefit your community. And so I was getting new signs for my church and also fundraising. And it ended up being a much bigger process than I was expecting. Yeah. There's a lot of paperwork. So much paperwork. Your mom has been a really big help with being on the board. So yeah, it's definitely been a process that's involved a lot of other people, and I've been really grateful for everybody's help. And it's been a really cool experience, and I feel like I've learned a lot. But I don't know how I would have had time for all that I did and all of the mistakes that I made and then had to fix if it weren't that I had a flexible schedule and was able to just commit a couple days to, working on that project. Yeah. So that was definitely a big blessing that homeschool gave me, was time to complete that. And I was just looking at the paperwork yesterday because you have your board review tonight. It's crazy. Oh, my goodness.
I just am in awe of you that you can be able to do all of that. And I was just looking at it. I'm like, this is so much work. And it's beautiful. Like, everything you put together is gorgeous. So, yeah, that is it. And it's like 100 hours of service. It is an insanely large. And you and Belle are the first people to actually complete it in our troop. So this is like an amazing accomplishment for us.
Really
it feels like for all of us, but it's mostly for you guys.
It's been really cool.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
And you also have a blog.
I do have a blog.
And that is pretty awesome. I love your blog.
I was supposed to send out an email this week, and we're working on that.
I was supposed to release an episode this week, and that did not happen.
Yeah, that's definitely been a huge learning curve. I mean, I bet you definitely relate. You honestly releasing your podcast and just putting that out there and just going for it, that really inspired me, because I had been kind of working on the blog, but just not wanting to show it to anybody because I'm like, it's not perfect yet. And you really inspired me, and that was really cool, and I'm really grateful that I finally got it on the World Wide Web. It's been very exciting to I don't have a ton of people reading it, but it's just fun to have something that you can like call your own, and you've created it, and you're sharing ideas, and hopefully I'm hoping at some point I'll be able to get like guests on the blog and stuff, like your interviews, and that'll be really cool. So I've been really grateful for that opportunity, because I do really love writing, and that's definitely helping me hone my skills. So that's another thing that I am definitely making time for in my day-to-day, which has been really good.
And I will link your blog.
Thank you.
What was it? Your link to your blog in my show notes. Is it okay?
Another hopeful writer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely go and check that out, because you're on Instagram too.
Yes.
Is it just at Another Hopeful Writer? Probably.
I think it's.
I'll link that too.
Yes.
I'll find it.
I think it's Another Hopeful Writer blog. Yeah.
So make sure to go check that out. What are some of your favorite things that you've experienced through homeschooling? Just your favorite things about homeschooling?
I really enjoyed, being able to spend time with my family a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like homeschooling, and we're in a pretty large family. There's 6 kids, and we all kind of work together. And since a lot of the curriculum that we do is, it kind of goes down the line, we can kind of help each other out. And I've always really appreciated that, having siblings and working with them, and just being able to spend a lot of time as a family and really having that close bond.
Family bonds with homeschooling is one of my favorite things, honestly. I mean, sometimes it's a little hard. Sometimes we need to go outside and take a walk. Just exactly. And then sometimes we get a little crazy. But most of the time, it's really nice. It's like you get to know your family a lot better. And like you said, when you do have to leave, when you graduate, you feel like you really got some nice time with your family. Yeah, you really got the most out of that. Do you have anything you like about your favorite thing? It could be something fun, too. Like, sometimes being able to sleep in, if you want to. Not that I actually do that much.
I know. Honestly, I can't bring myself to sleep in.
My favorite thing to do is when Dora has to get up at 6 a.m. to go to Blackburn. I like laying in bed till 7.
Be laying there, and she'll be like,
and I feel like
goodbye, Dora.
I'm sleeping in so late, because I'm like, this is a full hour after Dora got up. So that always feels a little.
I guess I'm too nice to you, because we share this room, and I have to get up at 6 o'clock, and I will get ready in the dark. Like, every
She's such
morning,
a nice sister.
I will leave the light off for Annie.
And then when I have to get up early, some mornings, I just like bang around.
Yeah.
Because part of it is getting out of a top bunk is incredibly hard in the dark when you're half asleep, and I almost fall out like every single time.
We don't have a ladder, so she has to like step on my head every time.
I do not step on your head. But I do have to kind of clamber down. Yeah, there you go.
So, do you ever feel like you're missing out on anything being homeschooled? I mean, you guys have been homeschooled for all your schooling years. So, have you ever felt like you've missed out on anything? It could be a long time ago. It could be recently.
When I was little, I definitely felt like I was missing out on, like, school sports. Because we didn't really do that until I got to be in, like, 6th grade.
Yeah.
So, I had cousins who were involved in Plants and Pillars from the time they were really little. And they were doing sports through they were doing soccer specifically through their local school and through Plants and Pillars.
Wow.
So they had a lot of sports when they were little. And I remember wishing I had that too. But then when I got to be in like 6th grade, we started doing like sports through Plants and Pillars, and ever since then I've had a lot of fun with that and never felt like I was missing out.
I feel like people don't realize how many resources there are for homeschoolers.
That's
and
true.
It definitely depends on your area. But like in our area, we're really blessed to have so many opportunities to do so many things. And there's homeschool prom, and there's homeschool sports, and there's homeschool opportunities to do things through the public schools or so I don't feel like we've really missed out on much. And I definitely think that's a newer thing, because like my mom was saying, when she was in high school there weren't as many things, so it's definitely grown in the past couple decades.
That's really true.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's become sort of like a rite of passage, I guess. Like, you feel like you have to do these things to be in high school. I don't know. But I don't think it really, in the end, matters that much.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And there are growing amount of resources for homeschooling. It's kind of crazy. Especially over the pandemic, when all these people started homeschooling. I read this really amazing statistic the other day. Like, how many people have dropped out of the public school system through the whole COVID. It's crazy. Yeah. So, oh yes, do you have any advice for anyone who is starting to homeschool in high school, or is afraid to homeschool in high school, or something that, they're going to miss out on something, or they're not going to be able to get in college or something like that? I know that's a very broad question. I'm just going over in my head. I'm like, wow.
I mean, I guess definitely research your area. Look into what there is available, because I was surprised now that you mentioned about getting into college. Now that I'm like going through that process and looking for scholarships and things, I'm amazed at how many organizations, how many colleges have really worked hard to make it easy for homeschoolers to apply.
Yeah.
That seems to be something that's becoming pretty mainstream. So I don't feel like I had many difficulties. And then even when I did have questions, we went to our local public school, the high school advisor there, and asked him questions about what are scholarship opportunities in this area. And he was super helpful. So definitely, research co-ops in your area, research resources, know what you have available, and then, pursue the things that interest you. Because I definitely think homeschooling would be really, really difficult to do on your own.
Yes.
So connecting with other people and other things that you've listed in other episodes.
Well, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say get plugged into your local homeschooling group. Exactly. Because I don't miss an episode without saying that at least once, because it's that important. So plug yourself in if you haven't already.
Yes.
So, it's extremely important to have that. Do you have anything you want to add, Dora?
I would just say don't be afraid to try new things. Like,
yes,
I know that sounds cliche, but like if you start out homeschooling in high school one way and it's not going how you want it to, you can change it. Like, that's one of the many blessings of homeschooling, is year to year it really can change up to fit your needs and desires for how you want your education to be going. Yeah. Like, you don't have to continue doing one thing the same way just because you started out that way. Like, I mean, throughout our years as homeschoolers, we have changed so much in what we've been doing.
Yeah.
With all our different programs.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for every experience we've had. Because something my mom likes to say a lot is, the goal of homeschooling, the goal of education in general should be, to learn how to learn. And to have a passion for learning, and to get the skills needed to learn, reading and writing and all those kinds of things. And so if you're passionate about learning, there's not like a wrong way that you can go about it. So it's an exciting opportunity, and I'm really grateful that I've had this. And
and you guys have definitely taken advantage of everything homeschooling has to offer. So that's awesome.
It's been really fun.
It really is. That's why I wanted to start this podcast, because I want to make it known that this is actually a really cool way to school. Yeah. Like, a lot of people are afraid of it or have misconceptions about it that are not true. And so having you guys talk about your experience and how much it has impacted your life, and how you didn't have trouble getting into college or anything like that. Having been homeschooled your whole life. Right. So just talking about that will make it a little less scary. Exactly. And a little more like what it really is, which is, if you do it right, it is really fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Yes, that experience. Definitely. So I want to thank you all. If there's nothing else you want to add.
No, I don't think so.
I want to thank you all for being on the podcast and for taking
so much
this
for inviting
time.
us.
It was so fun. And
This is
I've
gonna be
been
really
wanting
fun,
to
yeah.
talk to you guys since the beginning, really. So I'm so happy that this worked
Yeah.
out. And if you listeners have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, just feel free to email me. My email is linked below. And then also we have Instagram page, so make sure to follow us on there. And we will be back next week for a new episode. We do not have a question today. Usually I end with a question, but I did not prepare a question and I didn't get a question. So we will not do a question today. Because of all those reasons, we don't have a question. But I look forward to having you guys back on. They will be back. And yes, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you again. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.